Welcome everyone. My name is Shafali and welcome all Konnichiwa to our Konnichiwa event 2021. Uh, Today I'm very delighted to have Miss Avantika with me, who is a proud owner of Kampai restaurant. Would you like to share something about yourself first, Avantika?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me here. It's quite a pleasure to be able to speak at a forum like this. Thank you, Shafali, for inviting me. I'm Avantika. Like Shafali mentioned, I run a Japanese restaurant here in Delhi by the name of Kampai. I started this restaurant about now almost 3 years ago, and it was inaugurated by the ambassador of Japan at the time, His Excellency Hiramatsu-san. So we, from the very beginning, had a very clear goal of doing something for the Japanese clientele in Delhi. So from the very beginning, we were very focused on, giving them a piece of their home in Delhi. So from the very beginning, we've had a very large clientele, which were Japanese, and we focused a lot on, we had a Japanese chef who came and curated our entire menu and trained our team. So I ran the restaurant for 2 years, and then I opened my second restaurant last year. That one is a Singaporean restaurant. We also do a lot of Japanese caterings. We do a lot of very high-end events within the Japanese food space. Yeah.
Thank you for giving the introduction, Avantika. As you know, this particular segment is for women empowerment. So I would like to know from you, what does women empowerment means to you?
That's a heavy question, but I think in today's day and age, to me, women empowerment is all about, having the freedom to choose your path in life. It's about choice. It's about, having the freedom to be able to go and pursue whatever it is that you want, whether professionally or personally. Gender roles shouldn't define career goals or, personal goals. I think any decision based, for your profession or your personal life should be based on what you desire and what you want, and not based on what gender you are. So that for me is just what women empowerment is. And it's also about women like us who are, at these roles. We should take advantage of where we sit and, invite other women and encourage other women, and, keep them motivated, because, it is possible to go and get what you want. And that is, also what for me it means.
That is so true, that women empowerment should not be something like different job or different altogether anything. This thing should not be genderized. It should not be divided that this work is related to women and this work is related to men, and female cannot enter that particular segment. So thank you for giving your views on that. It's really wonderful to know that.
Thank you.
So moving further, I would like to know that you studied something like luxury, managing luxury brand.
Yeah.
And hospitality is something different from that, what I understand. So how come you switched from that particular segment to hospitality, and when that idea came into your mind?
I did my graduation in fashion design, and then I went on to study luxury brand management in London. And I pretty early on knew that I definitely didn't want to be in design, and I wanted to be on the management and business ends of things. So when I went to London, during my master's is when I started getting interested in the hospitality industry in India, and I did my entire 6-month thesis on the hospitality industry in India. And that's when I started getting interested, and I realized the potential that this industry has, and the kind of growth that it's seen in the last decade. So when I returned to India, I was very clear that this is what I wanted to do, and I created my business plan, and I went out, got some funding and opened my restaurant, because I realized that that's where my passion lies.
How Kampai is different from other restaurants, because it's a Japanese restaurant. So how it's different? Right now in India, we are having several restaurants. Means if I talk about Delhi, Pune, Mumbai, there are several restaurants. So how Kampai is different from them?
I think, as an owner, I take a lot of initiative in making sure that the quality of everything that we serve is, at the top. And I don't like to compromise on anything because of, price, other things. Like, I'm kind of okay to absorb certain costs, but I'm very particular about the fact that the quality has to be maintained. At the time that I opened Kampai, there were not many Japanese restaurants place as in like a standalone format. So there were a lot of them in like luxury hotels and things like that, but there weren't too many in like a standalone format the way that we've done. So ours is like a very modern interpretation of authentic Japanese cuisine. So what I wanted to do is, not just cater to either the Japanese or the Indians. I wanted to create a product which would be enjoyed by the Japanese and the Indians alike. So our restaurant is also very well known for its like cocktails. So we also focus a lot on that part of things. And so we've created an entire cocktail concept menu which is actually based on the different landscapes of Japan. So we've actually created a very interesting story around all the different areas of Japan. So we've been inspired by Kyoto and Okinawa and Tokyo. So we've actually taken a lot of inspiration. In everything that we do, Japan is just very strongly built into all our ideas and our concepts. And we very strictly adhere to that, and we maintain our authenticity in every possible way. That's where I think that we kind of stand out from the other restaurants.
So when you started the restaurant, or the idea came into your mind that now I want to be in hospitality segment, I want to own a restaurant. So why Japan? Why Japanese cuisine?
So actually, my father had a lot of business in Japan when I was growing up. So I've visited Japan almost, I think, 7 or 8 times in my life, and I was exposed to the Japanese culture since a very young age. So because of my father's business, we were around a lot of Japanese people. So I was exposed to the culture and the cuisine from a very young age, and on one of my trips to Japan, and it's always been my favorite cuisine. And then on one of my trips, I realized that why is no one doing justice to this cuisine, in India? And I realized that there was a big gap at the time, and I wanted to kind of, introduce people to this cuisine. So we get so many Indians in our restaurant who've never tasted Japanese cuisine. So it makes me really happy to, be the first sort of point of contact between India and Japan, because this is how people perceive Japan when they come to Kampai. This is their first taste of what Japan would be like. So it makes me really happy that we have a small role to play in that. Yeah.
I'm sure. But Avantika, if I ask, like, we are having a lot of Japanese restaurant, but they are still into like different cuisine. How difficult it was for you to introduce Japanese cuisine in India, because still Indian people are not so into about Japanese cuisine because they don't have that sort of taste developed.
Yes.
So how difficult it was for you?
It's definitely, it still is, it can be very challenging also, because a lot of restaurants, what they end up doing is they end up serving Chinese and Japanese and Thai and everything within the same restaurant, which I personally find very confusing, because I feel like a restaurant should stick to one identity and not dilute it for the sake of luring customers in. And you also have to give the customer a chance, to kind of really, so it took us a while. When we started, we had about 65% of my clientele was expat only, and we had only like a 30% Indian clientele. And today it's reversed, of course, because of COVID as well, but even otherwise now we have such a loyal set of clientele for amongst our Indian clientele. And that, what, now people are so well traveled that people do really understand this cuisine now, and people genuinely are now starting to take interest, and they want to come and they want to try, and they want to know what are the specialities, how do you eat Japanese food, what do you pair it with. So people are definitely getting inquisitive, so we want to take that challenge on, and we want to educate people that this is what true Japanese cuisine is. And I'm very I've been very sort of firm on the fact that I'm not going to introduce like other dishes in my menu which are not Japanese. So we've been very kind of particular about that, and we will continue, and that's why today Kampai has made a name for itself in the market also.
If I talk about the clientele, so what percentage I can say what sort of percentages of Indian people, and if we exclude Japanese people from that list?
So pre-COVID, it was only about 30-35% of my clientele was Indian pre-COVID. Now about now I would say 60% of my clientele is Indian now. Yeah, that's also
Post-COVID.
yeah, that's also because so many Japanese people also went back. But having said that, it's also because the popularity of the cuisine has grown a lot in the last 2-3 years. So there were so many people who came and tried the cuisine for the first time, and now they've become like regulars. Now they know that if they want Japanese food, they come to Kampai for it. So yeah, so that's now how it is.
So what are the signature or authentic you can suggest to Japanese people that you prefer that in your restaurant, or you are having, or want everyone to try that cuisine, whether Indian or Japanese, anyone?
I think the most popular thing is always sushi amongst Indians, especially. Sushi has become like the most trendy thing suddenly in the last year, where everyone, so we do a lot of caterings as well. And all our clients for our caterings, the first thing they want is sushi. So definitely sushi has become like the most trendy thing to eat in today's day. Other than that, we also like our ramen is excellent. So our ramen is also like our, some of our signature dishes are from our ramen section. We also like our tempuras, which are very, popular in Japan. So our tempuras are really popular. Then we have our bento boxes, which we, sell for lunch, like quick Japanese lunches. Then we have, from a variety of donburi and teppanyaki. So, so all of those as well. Yeah.
Okay. So whenever I'll travel to Delhi, or someone who's traveled to Delhi, they will definitely have something authentic Japanese food there.
Anytime, let me know when you're here.
Sure. So, Avantika, if I talk about from women's perspective, how difficult it is, or what set of skills is really required to be in hospitality segment? Because it's not an easy task to be in hospitality, or owning a restaurant, or owning a hotel. So, what set of skills is required, you think, or must be there to be a person where you are right now?
I completely agree. It's a complete male dominated industry. There are very few female restaurant owners that I know. And that's where I actually personally enjoy it, because I get to make a difference, and I take this responsibility quite seriously. So in fact, recently I was also appointed to be on the management committee of the National Restaurant Association of India. So it's a very small and very prestigious committee, with
Congratulations for that.
very much. Thank you. So it has some of the most senior members of this industry. So I was appointed to be on the management committee, and I'm one of the only two women that are on the committee, and the only one from Delhi. So I have taken it as a personal this thing to encourage more and more women to take on this role, and to like really come out and know that it's not just for men. It's very much possible for a woman to do this job. I think the one most important thing is just to be confident. I don't think gender has anything to do with how you run a business, or how you run a restaurant, or you know or which industry you can or cannot get into. It's just about confidence. If you're confident on your product, people will notice you, and people will notice your product. So it's all about that. It's how passionate you are about your business, and how confidently you kind of take that forward. So that's how I see it.
Sure. Okay. So, after that, I would also like to know that you faced COVID situation also. Like, COVID has done really bad to our society, not even in India. If we talk about US, UK, Europe, everywhere, the whole world was under, panic situation, or really bad impact was there. And especially if we talk about hospitality segment, that it was really bad impact on that. And still hospitality segment is recovering from that trauma. So how you manage that? Because again, it's not a fact that COVID was for a male person or for female person.
Every
It's for everyone. So how you manage that?
So definitely it is one of the hardest things that our industry has ever had to go through, because the extended periods of lockdowns and the high rents that we pay, it was quite a challenge negotiating with the landlords, and also like paying your staff, and all of these things were very, very challenging. And it wasn't just the lockdown period, it was also post the lockdown. Business was not even 15% of pre-COVID when the first lockdown opened up. Things started again picking up in January, but then again by then, again, just when things were picking up again, it the lockdown happened again. So it was very, very challenging. But having said that, now business is picking up again, and the customer sentiment is back. And I mean, we're pretty much now back to our pre-COVID sales. And now we just hope that it stays like this and nothing else happens. And I think it will take us a good amount of time to recover, to be able to recover the losses, and to be able to recover from this. But we're hoping now that the worst is over. So, yeah.
I'm sure everything will be on track in some time later.
Yeah.
So apart from that, also, like, what changes you can think that some changes has been there post lockdown, or you have to accommodate, or some hospitality industries need to accommodate themselves to survive, the COVID situation, and what changes are there?
I think the biggest thing is, of course, safety and hygiene protocols, which we've set. We've set these standard operating procedures across different departments in the business, which are very strictly adhered to. We also conduct a lot of random audits to make sure that those hygiene checks are done regularly. Because today the last thing you want is for anyone to have a sort of, an unsafe experience at one of our outlets. So we're very particular about that today. I think that's one of these things.
So Avantika, you are having a very successful restaurant in Delhi. Is there any plan for expanding from there, like coming out of Delhi?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, I opened another restaurant last year. And then I also kind of, I'm also looking at other cities within India. I'm planning to expand into Bombay. I'm looking at Goa. In fact, I have just signed a franchise for Kampai in Bangladesh. So Kampai is also going international now. So, yeah, we are looking at a lot of expansion for sure. Yeah.
I'm sure it will be as successful as your Delhi franchise.
Yes, thanks.
Uh, sorry. Would you like to say anything to young women entrepreneurs in hospitality segment, or precisely I can say that would you like to say anything to women in general who aspire different segment, not only hospitality but any segment?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I want to say is, that get the fear out. It's all in our heads. There's enough of us women entrepreneurs who are here to kind of give our support to any young entrepreneur who wants to get into business. As my, as part of my role in the hospitality industry, I want to personally take on mentoring, taking on mentorship of young entrepreneurs and women, especially, and helping them, set up their businesses. And, I think there's so much that can be done. Also, I feel, that it's time that women break the shackles and they start coming out of their comfort zones, and know that, I mean, there are people like us who've proved the fact that it is possible in a male dominated industry. it is very much possible. And with every new woman that comes in, it makes it easier for the next one. So, it's just, you just have to take that first step and it'll all be good.
I'm sure. Uh, okay, apart from that, okay, some general question. Uh, since it's a Japanese restaurant, have you ever faced any comic incident, like first time any, you know, in a Japanese restaurant, anything?
Yes, lots. I mean, just very recently, we had an Indian customer who had never eaten sushi before, and he had ordered a salmon, spicy salmon roll, and he gave us a very bad review online. He gave us a very bad rating. And then I read the review and it said, oh, like, it was terrible. The salmon was not cooked properly. So I just laughed, because, like the customer didn't understand the fact that, salmon is supposed to be eaten raw. So that was quite a hilarious incident that happened very recently.
So how you deal with that sort of comments or negative environment or negativity, because social media is so prominent now. Anything on social media can tint your image, your restaurant's image. I
Sorry, I
I
think we lost
am
you.
I
Can you hear me now? I think
Yeah,
it
yeah,
should.
I can hear
Yeah,
you.
perfect. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, should I repeat my question?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed your question.
Okay, I was asking like how you deal with that sort of question or comment on social media, because social media is so prominent right now that any comment, any remark on social media, any site, it can tint your personality,
Yeah.
your company's authentication as well.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely, I always say social media is a boon, but it's also it can also be a very painful thing to deal with sometimes because, so what we like to do is educate our customers as much as we can from our end, like if there's someone who's never eaten Japanese cuisine, we do our best to educate the customer. And from before, we like to inform them that this is what, you can expect when you order, a particular dish or, and if we do get a negative comment, then we take it very, very seriously, and our entire management gets on it, and we make sure to call up the customer, understand what went wrong, and if it's a genuine concern, then we address it immediately, and we take that very seriously. Yeah.
Okay, one thing very important I just forgot to know. It's like your restaurant is Japanese and all the cuisine are Japanese. So chefs are also Japanese, or a certain training has been given to Indian chefs.
Yeah, so we had a Japanese chef who opened the restaurant, and he was with us for almost a year. And he's the one who's trained our entire team. We have a complete Indian staff now, and but they're all my staff have been trained under Japanese chefs, and they're all experts in in Japanese cuisine. And my entire menu and everything, all my recipes have all been curated by our Japanese chef. So yeah, so that's how we maintain our authenticity. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Avantika, for giving your time, joining me in this event, Konichiwa Pune 2021. Anything else before you go? I would like to know, you want to tell to audience, or any other view you are having as a woman in hospitality segment
Yeah,
before I close this segment.
I think for me, I'm very proud that, you reached out to me for being part of this. I've worked very closely with, the Consulate General and with the embassy, so I've always been very exposed, and, it's been such an amazing support from, the Embassy of Japan here in Delhi also. And it's been such a lovely relationship. And, Japan is one of my favorite countries in the world, and I can't wait to go back when flights open. I think my first trip will be back to Japan. Having said that, I think this women empowerment thing that you guys are doing is great. I think it's, the first step in making a difference is speaking about it, which is what we're doing. And, all of us as women need to do whatever we can to empower other women. And that's how, we'll be able to tackle all the problems that come in society. And, that's all that I can say.
Thank you, Avantika. It was really a wonderful session talking to you. And I can't wait to see you in person.
Yes,
Maybe when I come to Delhi, and hope so see you in next year's Konichiwa Pune, whenever it happens.
I look forward to that. Thank you so much for having me.